Good afternoon and welcome to the men's pursuit, which, as you can see, is already in progress in Falun. The World Cup circus has moved just up the road from Bolanga's sprints from last night to Falun, and as you can see, a little light snowfall as the men getting towards the business end of the classic half of this pursuit race, the third pursuit of the World Cup season. Well, I'm David Goldstrom, and sitting right alongside me, the man who was overlooking the sprint stadium last evening, Mike Dixon.
Yeah, but another good, fantastic race brewing up here. Look at this, hardly a separation of 35 athletes, and as we're seeing with these pursuit races, they're so exciting, they're tactical, and we have noted over the last couple of pursuit races that if you lead for too much of this phase, it does lower your chances towards the end of the race.
Well, this is a fascinating tail end to the World Cup. For some, it may seem a bit of an anticlimax after the Olympic Games. Of course, the Olympic pursuit champion Dementiev of Russia involved again today. But with just 5 races to go in the overall World Cup Championship, there are no less than 17 men who technically could win it. Now, in reality, that's simply not going to happen, and the big favourites are still Toby Angerer of Germany, who leads the World Cup rankings, Hetland and Lind, the specialist sprinters, and Vincent Vito, who is 283 points off the lead, but not without a chance. But at this stage, anybody who's going to take it away from Angerer, Mike, has really got to start winning everything. Indeed, or certainly coming in the top 3 should they want to challenge him. And Angerer not taking part at all in the sprint races last night. And we will see, I'm convinced the athletes who did the 4 sprints getting through to the final, it always clearly takes something out of your performance the following day. You cannot get away that often by putting the sprints in and coming here the next day and taking a 20 kilometre, 2 times 10. Well, this is a very interesting situation towards the tail end of the World Cup, because intensive racing over long distances, like the Vasselopet last weekend, like the sprints last night, and now the middle distance in the pursuit today, 10 kilometres classic style, 10 kilometres freestyle. It is maybe a shade and a flavour of something to come next season, which is the Tour de Ski, where the racers are going to be asked to intensively race a range of distances over 10 consecutive days, and it'll be very interesting to see the timetable when they bring it out in the spring, Mike, to see what that challenge is and to try and assess how many could actually take this on. Yeah, I mean, a tough challenge when you're asked each day, and the coaches from preparation for World Championships, it's you really don't want that. I believe it's going to happen around the Christmas period, and you really do have to look at your training, the whole structure of training in the summer leading up to those races, because clearly 10 days of continual racing, it does strip the body, takes a lot out of the athletes. Well, talking about taking things out of the athletes, a lot of these men are going to be feeling a variety of strengths. 67 up the front there, that's Fredrik Östberg of Sweden, one of the national group, but leading the way into transition. And this is where classic skis and poles are changed for freestyle skating skis and the shorter poles, Mike. So in we come, take us through it. So that's it. See, Frode Estil is up there in the lead group. You want to position yourself well. We'll see the athletes now begin to slacken their straps as they get closer to the change zone, and slackening the straps of their ski poles, and they will then come onto their mat where their skating skis are, and very quickly change ski poles, change skis, and off again. That process is going to take about 29 seconds. And it's reached such a specialist stage now that these men are actually putting the transition into the training program that they all are involved in. As you can see, just a little bit of wind here, not huge. An overcast sky, and sadly, Mike, not the sort of spectator crowd you had last night in Borlänge. Yeah, Borlänge was brilliant last night. We had a huge amount of spectators along the trackside. It was dark, it was exciting, and it does give that extra atmosphere. Although, yeah, people are working at this time and not quite able to get the crowds here. So Estil wearing number 4, centre screen there. And we tend to think of him as a better classics skier than we do freestyle, but being pursued out there by Matti Fredriksson and wearing the yellow bib. Now, was that Toby Angara? I think it was. It was Toby Angara, and as you said, he should be fresher than 1 or 2 because he didn't get involved in the Vasaloppet.
That's absolutely right. A lot of the big names did take part in the Vasaloppet, which was Sunday, and 90 kilometers really not possible for them to take part today, except only one, the man from China, Li Guiliang. So credit to him to even take part, only 4 days, 3 days after a 90-kilometer cross-country race.
And between 25-27 seconds the average time in the pits, but they're on the way for the first of their 3,000 meter loops in the freestyle skate.
The month of March on Eurosport. And with the first signs of spring, the bike boys are back on the road for the race everyone loves, the one they call the Race to the Sun. A week-long journey through France, heading south from the capital to the Mediterranean coast. The Paris-Nice race kicking off the UCI Pro Tour and the perfect taster for the season to come. Tennis has found a place in the sun, with both men and women starting their month in the Gulf. The ATP are in Dubai, where Roger Federer has taken the title against top opposition for 3 years running. Meanwhile, the women of the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour, with a galaxy of European stars, graft for the title. And live from Russia, the world's finest athletes line up for the grand finale of the winter, the IAAF World Indoor Championships. From 60 metres to 3,000 metres, from the hurdles to the heptathlon. It's the biggest thing in athletics this year, with great performances guaranteed. The month of March, cycling and the Paris-Nice, tennis from the ATP and the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour, and indoor athletics on Eurosport.
Sweden leading, and Sweden, well, the most successful season. The National Olympic Committee, before the Swedish team set off for Torino, they were looking for 7 medals. They brought back home 14. And a real success story, and particularly in the cross-country with Matti Fredriksson out front here for Sweden, for the host nation, leading Frode Still, and then just behind is Gaustad of Norway in the red, 31, Odna Vortsev not too far away. There's Angara wearing the Tour leader's yellow bib, 34, that's Roland Clara of Italy as well in the blue and white strip. And you have to say, Mike, what a transformation Inga Bratton, assisted by Thomas Olsgaard, have made to the Swedish team. And I was talking to a couple of people last evening, and they were saying it's just not only the physical side, it's the psychological side. He's made this team believe that they can win.
What a difference that makes when you've got a coach that's inspiring, that has stature, has created champions in the past. As an athlete, you believe in him. And of course the Swedes have been our great athletes. They're developed from a young age, and that single factor, believe in yourselves, team, and what a difference that has made. Inga Bratton has thrown that home to them, and totally and utterly transformed their set of beliefs. They're winning the sprints, and they're challenging in all the other distances.
And more importantly, they're actually inspiring, I would suggest, some youngsters to really get involved. And the other interesting factor here, as we have a look back at the transition, the pits, is like all over Scandinavia, this year's been a very good year for snow.
It has. It's a bit slow to start off with. We had to wait, till the 3rd week in November. But when it fell well, and plenty of opportunities to get out there on the skis.
And the pressure going on now, Mike, because up front it's Jon Anders Gaustad of Norway who's beginning to try and apply the pressure. This is a very big group of athletes, and I think there are quite a few in there who want to break this up and not let this be a massive sprint at the end.
Well, that's brave of Gaustad. This skating loop, it's a more not technically difficult, really. There are some fast corners, and we saw a picture there of the athletes nearly falling, and of course you have to watch you don't get tangled, but the profile is more difficult than the classic. It's on the same track 3 times a 3.3 kilometer. Each time they'll go round, but different profile to the classic track.
Yeah, no really heavy climbs though.
No, not steep wall climbing, but the trend from the stadium really to this point has all been climbing, so the second part of the track, and that's why I believe we're seeing such early breaks, trying to destroy this field, because it does need to be opened up. Gaustad there making the first of the big moves.
Jiří Magal for the Czech Republic in 4th place. And that might be Lasutkin of Belarus just there, but just need to check on the numbers as they go through. 17 losing ground, Keki, who's had a bit of an indifferent season, and there Matti Fredriksson taking on the refreshment. It might only be 20,000 meters, but it's the sort of day where you can dehydrate.
It is, it's warm, and as we see there, very light snow falling, which shouldn't have an impact on the athletes at the front. It's not going to slow the tracks down by any margin at all. And Matti Fredriksson to be leading, and he did the sprint races last night, came 28th in fact, so he only did 2 of the sprints.
Yeah, it was the other brother, wasn't it, Toby Fredriksson, who got the victory. And 1 or 2 reactions from last night that I thought were quite interesting. Toby was a bit surprised. He said he was tired after the Olympics and therefore delighted about the victory, and reminded everybody that he won here in 2003. Now wants to turn Borlänge into his equivalent of Peter Larsson's Dusseldorf.
Yeah, Dusseldorf and Larsson go together well, although Larsson was racing so well last night. But look at Gaustad. This is as brave as we've seen in any pursuit this season. For someone to try and break the rest of the pack at 13.3, well, great credit to this young man.
Yeah, 2 pursuits. 30,000 meters, the pursuit distances raced in the first 2 World Cup pursuits, both won by Toby Angerer, the first in Canada before the turn of the year, the second one just before the Olympics in Oberstdorf. But unfortunately for Angerer, no medal in the Olympics. It was Dementiev, Estil, Pietro Pilacotra, and of course, I guess the biggest hero of the lot for Italy, Dicenta, Giorgio, who ultimately won that fantastic 50 free finale.
Yeah, that was so spectacular. He's still in the 11th position today, Dicenta, so he's still carrying the form and the self-belief. Second time out of the stadium, David. This it takes a little bit of time. It certainly takes a kilometre to get your legs back into or away from the transition from the classic into the skating. That's behind them now, and they're well and truly into the rhythm.
And I must say, Gaustad's really trying to sustain this. He's being reeled in. That looks like Jiří Magal, who's got him in his sights. But Gaustad is doing some damage, because you can just see there are men, Mike, at the back there who are beginning to drop off. Look at Fredriksson. He's been found out. He just doesn't have that race pace in his legs at the moment. But Angerer, for me, who would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now from the front, is moving into a very dangerous position.
He is. He's well, he's so race aware where to put himself, and to keep up in that top 5, never letting himself really out of the top 10, because Angerer can win these. He knows he can win these races, especially in the last well, what we've seen him go at 1.7, we've seen him break at 1.5.
Tis Jiří Magal in second place. Gaustad, though, not afraid to do the donkey work, really to cut this out. But now that's a sign of weakness. Has a little look round, and he's almost acknowledging the fact that he hasn't managed to break them.
It can be quite cruel. You put all your cards on the table. That's what he did. He said, right, I'm going to break you all now. When it doesn't work, you've got to rethink. You have to think positively about the situation where all the rest of the world have caught you up. And he'll regroup. I think he'll slide back maybe into 5th place and then recharge for possibly another break later.
It was very interesting, Mike, if you remember in the Olympic Games, there were a number of men who in various races chose to attack. Pietro Pilacotra, who's in this leading group, was one of them. And if you had maybe one, possibly two attempts to break and you didn't achieve the break, then you weren't a man who was likely to win the race.
That is so true. And maybe this is where Gaustad, this is earlier when he did make his huge challenge to break the field. Yeah, maybe it doesn't bode well for him today, but is certainly looking confident. Lovely technique where he's bringing the weight from the body through his right arm, transferring it into the leg, and he's still believing in himself. Maybe we've misread it here.
Well, he's got no choice now. He's set out his stall. He's got to keep going. It's still a good 5,000 meters to get home, and Yuri Magal in second place. Estil's there, Angara's there. Pietro Cotra would be in the first half dozen as well. Gaustad still trying to raise the tempo. 38 moving up there also. Peter Northug. Now there's an interesting young man, of course, the superstar of the Junior World Championships this year, and the subject of many column inches in the Norwegian newspapers. Why was Northug not taken to the Olympic Games?
Yeah, big debate in the press, and he is such a talent. Number 38 there, he's what, in about 4th or 5th position. I liked his attitude when the press were saying, well, Peter, what do you think? Surely you must believe that you should have been at the Olympics. And he was saying, well, you know, my time will come. Instead of being so self-confident, saying, yes, of course I should have been there, I can win medals, because I believe he could have, possibly in the sprints, and he must have been devastated that he wasn't there. But I loved his attitude. He said, look, I believe in the coaches, and I hope they make the right decisions.
Also, Emmanuel Jonier well to the fore as well, ahead of teammate Vincent Vito. And you can see here 13 seconds. This is beginning to be a little worrying gap for these men. Devon Kershaw, brilliant third last night for the Canadian, Mike.
He did so well. And when you think of the Olympics, Devon Kershaw, he was 37th, and that was only a couple of weeks ago. But he had belief that this Canadian energy of believing that they can match the best in the world is lifting the men. We know the women have been at the top of the world, and it's a great energy that they have in their team.
So there it is. You can see, well, they've got Yuri Magal up front there. We're still 5,000 meters to go. There's Northug, 6 seconds back. Philbrick, Fredriksson, Botvinov also moving forward. So 5,000 meters, and still probably 14 to 15 in with a chance.
There you are.
Where did you come from?
From your future.
How did you get there? We're having a real problem.
Problems are there to be solved. My friends can deliver all kinds of solutions. Pretty cool, huh? Up you come. You must never stop climbing. You must always have ambition. You know, one needs vision in life too. What's so funny?
Which skier suffered an unbelievable fall before winning 2 gold medals in the Nagano Olympic Games? Text quiz to the SMS number beside your country's flag and you could win, with Altec Lansing, the sound expert, plenty of MP3 and multimedia players, your own in-motion mobile speaker system, parabolic skis and many other prizes. Altec Lansing, just listen to this. Simply text quiz to the SMS number beside your country's flag. It's your turn to play.
Well, a lot of cat and mouse going on now, Mike. Angara just having a look around to see who's with him. Be very interesting to see whether he's still got that devastating kick.
It will be. There's been a break. He's managed to go home down to Traunstein and have a break with his family, and you can recharge the batteries from that. But I think we will see Angara with that dynamic final 1.52 kilometers. Look, still in 4th place, but the pace at the front there really has killed off most of the rest. When we've got such a gap now, instead of 2 or 3 wide, really an indication that this pace is burning. It is absolutely killing them.
We need to try and track Dementiev, who wears bib number 13, the Olympic champion, because he plays a really risky race. He loves coming from off the pace, but the law of averages tells you, Mike, that more often than not he'll fail rather than succeed.
Indeed, he just seems to come out of nowhere, but he needs to start Dementiev moving his way forward if he's got a real chance of a victory here like he did at the Olympics.
But in the 50-kilometre free, it was a perfect example. He was very, very effective in the final phase, but he had to negotiate too much traffic in the last 2 kilometres.
And that puts tension through you when you're racing out there. It's trying to get past. You've got to go the long way around, because if you're at the front, you take the best racing line. So anyone that's behind the leader has to, if he wants past, take a longer way around. And it's more energy, it's more work, and it really does burn up that energy.
Emmanuel Johnnier, right of screen there, wearing 11, just into 3rd place. Pietro Pilakotra into 2nd. Yuri Magal for the Czech Republic leading. And it's changing all the time, in fact. 2 going through in the foreground there. That was Vincent Vito trying to make some ground. 63 off the pace, Devon Kershaw. A little bit of work for him to do to get back to Group 1. And I'm afraid these gentlemen, they're not going to reconnect. But there's Pietro Pilakotra on the near side. That's the yellow hat we've come to recognise. Very good idea, Mike, if you're an athlete, to have a calling card so that everybody knows who you are and where you are.
Yeah, he's done it. He's been in such good form, hasn't he? I mean, and we saw him in Val di Fiemme a couple of weeks, 3 weeks before the Olympic Games. He tried a break, he made his move with 2.5 kilometres to go, and it looks to me like Pilakotra wants that, because from the stadium we're going to climb up now for 1.5 k's, and that really is the part of the track where you can break the rest. The downhill section, very difficult to catch or to catch a gain there from the rest of the field.
And if we could go back to Pragelato and the Olympics, where was it? He was skiing the 3rd leg of the relay, the first freestyle leg, the big climb. That's where he put the massive effort in, gave a huge lead to Zorzi. Zorzi, to be fair, skied a fantastic 4th leg as a solo leg. And of course, Italy now part of cross-country legend, Olympic champions on home snow.
Yeah, that was amazing, absolutely amazing. And that belief, the pride of racing on your own home ground, it does release energy. But Pilakotra, he still has the energy here. I think he's really going to turn as we go round the right hand here into the steep hill. I think he's really going to put the burst of speed that only he can put in. And that's what destroyed the rest of the world in the relay at the Olympics.
And at the moment, Dementiev not evident. Here we go. These are the men. Northug, well, this would be a real interesting result if Northug ends up on the podium, or indeed even wins the race. Some less familiar names, Clara in there. And now a chance to appreciate Pilakotra.
Yeah, beautiful, smooth technique. His lighter body weight compared to the rest, and that's why he says he loves the steep uphill climbs, and he's got the confidence to attack on those climbs. But, well, he's got company. Look at Yuri Magal there. Determination.
Yeah, it's 2 very different styles, isn't it? It's grittiness from Magal.
It is. It's muscular. It's sheer muscle power that pushes him round the track. Pilakotra, more flowing, more musical.
And Northug, even though he's still in junior ranks, here he is in 2nd place, but already you say he's quite an imposing, he's quite a stocky guy.
He is. He didn't quite have, I think from his lack of experience last night in the sprints, I felt he had the ability to win, but he wasn't putting himself in the right position. Look at this, we've got a massive attack now at the front.
Yeah, 22, Batičak for the Slovaks. So it's Slovakia on the left, Czech Republic on the right, and now the Czech Republic leading Slovakia, then Norway, and moving up there, that's Teichmann, of course, who's had such a quiet season, wide out onto the left there, wearing the yellow bib. That's Angara, who's trying to avoid traffic problems, but he's being forced to go the extra metre or 2.
Amazing. Well, I think this could be Teichmann's day, to be honest. I've been watching him. He stayed back in 15th place. I thought he was 10 seconds off the pace earlier. but he really is pulling it back now, because Teichmann has missed so much. He was angry, he was disappointed that he couldn't race at the Olympics.
Well, I tell you what, Yuri Magal is making this a painful ride. Moving up also there, 39, going through Franz Göring. And off the pace, number 6, and that's Matti Frederiksen, who simply hasn't been able to live with these uneven bursts.
No, and the sprint races last night maybe has affected Matti Frederiksen there, because he looked so confident as he picked up his skating skis, went out of the stadium. I thought maybe it was going to be his day, but clearly fatigue in the muscles.
I also just wonder, Mike, whether Matti Frederiksen is actually, in all honesty, a little bit like Verpelu. He's a better time trialer in the time trial race. He can set his own rhythm, he can adjust his own pace. He isn't hustled and bustled. This is a race where mentally you need to be very strong, and also you need to be able to accept pain if somebody decides to turn the screw.
It's a different format, isn't it? It's a different style of racing where you've got to be able to really fight in there to hold the ground.
Peter Northug very much to the fore now for Norway, and you've got to say, Mike, that if he ends up on the podium or close to it, then he's that little bit closer to being a permanent fixture in the A-team.
I think so, and the press maybe have tabbed him properly that he's a man that should be racing for Norway in the World Cups and, well, at the major competitions. I'm sure we will see that next year. Northug, the new name, the new big name for a long time to come.
Yeah, no respite for these boys. Tomorrow they'll be sprinting, or some of them, in Drammen to the west of Oslo, and then of course on Saturday 50 kilometers freestyle in front of His Majesty the King of Norway in the great Holmenkollen weekend. The women 30 kilometers freestyle there. So two big races to come, and just underlines what an intensive week this is.
And the intense racing here, it's exciting, it's dramatic, the lead changes regularly, and now we're coming up to the high point. So look at this, there's still 20 all within 4 or 5 seconds.
7, Lucas Bauer, a long way off the pace, so he hasn't been able to go with Magal, but there's a change up front. And that change is a significant one. We'll get back to the leaders in a moment as they twist and turn their way back down. And that looked to me, I was going to say, it looked like a Russian suit that has gone into the lead.
I think it's Bacichak, actually.
Is it Bacichak from Slovakia?
He put the big attack in on the first of the climbs out of the stadium, and he's still got the power.
Bacichak, who was vying with Yuri Magal.
Oh, this is to the finish. It's gently downhill. There's Toby Angerer. He's allowed to do that. He's pushing the ski pole of Bacichak so that he doesn't override the tail of his skis. Well, mad finish, mad dash for the line coming up.
And this is really interesting because you would have expected Angerer to have gone before now, but he's just sitting on the ski tails of Bacichak. This is going to be a big burn-up. Northug on the near side, almost being a little clumsy there, trying to make space for himself, but it's Angerer now who's out in front, looking to make it 3 World Cup pursuits out of 3. The winner in Canada, the winner in Oberstdorf, looking for another 100 points. And I tell you what, Mike, if he can hold on to this 100 points might actually virtually be the clincher for the World Cup for him.
Could well be. Great move. He made sure he was at the front, and he's had the best line. Now it's the long, 200, 300 meters dash to the line. Northug, he is not giving up for a 20-year-old.
Now Northug's got bags of desire, and he's about half a metre behind. There's Angerer. Now Northug puts the power on, and here is the junior champion on the right-hand side. Angerer in the middle on the far side there. Another German challenge, but it is Northug. Northug and Teichmann in there as well. And Northug, confidence of his own power to get his first World Cup success.
I am so impressed with that. He had belief in himself at the better give him air, because he's on his limit. And have we got a man to match Toby Angerer in that final 300 metres?
Frode still, well, congratulating him, but almost looking as if he's giving him the kiss of life. Look at that. Well, that is, when you look at it again, is it?
I think that's Angerer's second.
It looks like Angerer, doesn't it?
Well, if you stretch far enough, you can just get that extra centimetre. I think that's what. And look at this respect from Angerer to the young man. Nobody normally beats Angerer in that final 500 metres. Norway have produced another champion.
Well, win, lose or draw, officially it is a photograph. It looks the first time as we went across there, Mike, as if Peter Northug had done the business.
And he's collected another pair of glasses from this. Well, that is brilliant. I don't think he can believe it, that he's lined up with the best in the world and taken them on and beaten them.
Well, that's unofficially. We need to see the official results. At the moment, it's Northug. We think it's Northug. Waiting for confirmation. Angerer in a photo with Jadalen. Now, Jadalen's on the left of your screen. Angerer in the centre. Northug near side. And in fact, it's Teichmann in that three-way photo for second place. So Northug the clear winner, and Angerer, then Jadalen and Teichmann. That's all very tight for a photograph, but what a way to go back to Norway tomorrow for Peter Northug.
And well, he was sprinting beautifully last night. Remember, he took part in 4 1.5 kilometre sprints last night, and it strips you of energy. But the belief of this young man, that the chance, he's got his chance, and he's beaten them all.
Factor is, Mike, the fact that he wasn't selected for the Olympic Games means that he comes into this final phase of the World Cup that much fresher.
And mentally fresher as well, you're right. The pressures at the Olympic Games, it's an intense period of time, so he's been away from that, you're right. And he's come here with, well, with a huge focus to end his season at the highest point.
And it's always sweet if you're Norwegian to win on Swedish snow and vice versa. So I think the Swedes will be looking to get a bit of revenge tomorrow in Drammen.
They certainly will be. Looking at Kershaw, who took the bronze last night in the sprints, only 3.7 seconds behind.
And I can hear Kjell-Erik, the public address announcer, suggesting that Angerer might not be second, but on the evidence of that, I'd give him second. And ooh, that's pretty close. Maybe Teichmann ahead of Jadalen. Teichmann on the far side, Jadalen on the near side. And just to emphasise, Mike, it's the boot.
It is the boot that counts as the line breaker. And Teichmann, he didn't reach forward at all. He didn't spread the legs at all. And if he'd done that, he certainly would have had the second place.
Well, I can only think, Mike, that Northug's success is going to fuel the debate even more about why was he not in Prajolato.
Yeah, well, it's a brave coach that would leave the big names, the experienced athletes out and put a young man in. I think you've got to go on instinct. He was racing well. Maybe they should have.
Interesting there, Mike. You got Frode still. The stature of the two men very different. You got the height of, but the stockiness of Peter Northug.
Strength, absolute strength. At 20-year-old, he's been developed well through the club system and the school system, and creating another champion. Could he be the next Dali?
Well, we might find that out in 4 years' time in Vancouver. But you've just had a very good piece of evidence today that this man is going to make, and effectively today has made the transition from junior to senior.